Hi students. So this video will focus on the distributive property. Again, we're going through foundational skills, and this will be a lecture, and then at the end there'll be an assignment for you to complete. There will be 6 questions or 6 problems for you to distribute. Okay? All right, here we go. Okay, distributive property. It is nothing more than repetitive multiplication. Sorry about that. Just kind of went dark weird. But that says repetitive multiplication. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to move along this sheet so you can copy it, pause it, right? Okay, here we go. Definition: the distributive property lets you multiply a sum by multiplying each addend separately and then add the products. That's okay. Moving on, let's now practice it. Your grouping symbols are parentheses and brackets. You're very accustomed to these. More parentheses will be used in this class. Okay. Variable terms. So a variable is just a letter, right? It's a term. So we have 4x minus 5m minus 3a. Okay, so 0x. Now, first of all, 0 is always a positive number. Okay, you can't have negative 0. Okay, so it's always positive 0. Now, when there's an x there, this is technically a constant term, even though you see a variable. When the coefficient is 0, it's a constant term, so 0x is really equivalent to just 0, right? So 0 is really a constant. Okay, so your constant terms, right? So you got 3, negative 10, negative 12, positive 17. So in this case, there is no variable, there is no letter, right? Like A, M, or X. Okay, so there's no variable, no letter, only a number. Now here you see just integers, but they can be any number, right? It could be rad 3, it could be 1/2, it could be negative 2/3, but in this case, we just have integers here because we're going to practice the distributive property, and we're only going to work with positive and negative integers, okay? Okay, so here are some examples. I'm going to go a little bit overboard as far as the examples because, again, I'll show this 2 different ways because I'm not quite sure how your teacher taught it to you. So remember, I absolutely respect if you prefer another method or the box method, depending what your teacher called it. That's acceptable. Okay, so here you have 2 quantity, right, the parentheses, 3x minus 5. Okay, I'm just going to kind of take scratch paper right now, and I'm just going to write it really big, and then I'll rewrite it nicer. Okay, so, all right. I'm assuming your teacher demonstrated the arrow showing the multiplication road that we were going to take, right? So that arrow demonstrated that I was going to multiply this positive 2 times each term in this grouping symbol, right? So in this grouping symbol, I have 2 terms. One term is 3x, and one term is negative 5. So this is a variable term, and this is a constant term. And so your teacher took that 2 and multiplied, right? So what is 2 times 3x? It is 6x, correct? So 2 times 3x is 6x. And then, of course, you're going to distribute that 2 to the next term in the grouping symbol. And so what is 2 times negative 5? I know my hand kind of takes this out of focus, is negative 10. And so that is your answer. Okay, just in case your teacher taught you another way, I don't know, we'll go over this more second semester. They call it the Box Theorem, but right now we're only having 1 term, so, you know. And so basically you take this 2, right, which is, whoops, have it go in focus. Okay, and you multiply each term. Sometimes students find that it is helpful if they put each term in its own little box or own little cell so that you don't accidentally overlook. So I would make sure to multiply 2 times 3x, which is 6x, 2 times -5, which is -10. Right, because sometimes the most common wrong answer is that students will multiply the 2 and only multiply it to the first term. And so I would get 6x minus 5, which is completely wrong, right? So this would be completely wrong. It would be incorrect, right? Because although you multiplied correct with the 2 and you multiply to the first term, you did not distribute this 2, because remember, it is nothing more than repetitive multiplication. So multiply, repeat, multiply. Okay, all right, so this would then be 6x minus 10, and that would be your answer, correct? Okay, so same here. So here I'll just go ahead and just write the arrows and write it out. Okay, so you have this -1, so -1 times positive 7x, right? All you do is switch the signs, so this would be -7x. What is -1 times positive 3? -3. So all you're going to do is just switch the signs, right? So what's positive becomes negative. And that's what it is for this case, right? Okay, so let's go to the second sheet. Okay, so I'll just do 2 more examples, and then your assignment, you will complete simplify using the DP, distributive property, and it would be this. So I'm just going to pan it over, but then I'll also explain it again. Okay? Okay, so again, here, we're going to distribute, right? So I'm going to multiply twice. Why twice? Because there's 2 terms in the parentheses, right? So what is 8 times -4? -32a. What is 8 times 6? +48. And so that is your answer. And you're not going to combine them. You don't add it afterwards because this has a variable. This does not have a variable. So this is a constant term. This is a variable term. They are not like terms. So that is your answer. Okay. And there's no equal sign, so we're not solving. I'm just asking you to simplify. Okay. And now here, watch your signs. So -3 times -6x. A negative times a negative is a positive, 18x. -3 times +10 is -30, and that is your answer. And if you don't put the positive here, it's not going to get docked, by the way. So if you come down to one of these other problems that I have you completing, you don't get docked for that. Okay, so that's it. Your assignment is you're going to simplify, remember? So you're just going to distribute. It's repetitive multiplication, so you're going to repeat the multiplication twice because we're multiplying this into a binomial, which is a 2-term, right? And here it just has the negative. You guys know that that's equivalent to just -1, like what we had here, right? So this -1 is identical to this. So there's really a 1 here. Okay. Okay. All right. Goodbye.